So inside the original train depot here in Toccoa is not just the Carbine Military Museum, but as well as the Stevens County Museum. So we got a double dose of history, and we're gonna head inside here and see what this museum has to offer. Football is more like rugby, I think. That's a glimpse of what downtown Toccoa used to look like. R.G. Letourneau. So he's the man that is responsible for bringing this area from the agricultural age to the industrial age. And I love these old photos. Look at some of the facial expressions on these people. You can really kind of get a gist of maybe who they just might have been. I have no idea how a switchboard would honestly actually work. Band of Brothers. Saving Private Ryan, of course. Well, of course, you gotta have the Dirty Dozen. That's a classic. That can't be real size, can it? So this old school photo of the Toccoa train depot is actually where we are currently. It's pretty neat. Crawling under live machine gun fire is, I would imagine, an attempt to get new soldiers to get used to the feeling and the sounds of getting shot at, so when the real thing comes around, you don't freeze up. So this road right here is actually the main drag where we will be tomorrow over at Camp Toccoa. But this is what it looked like in its heyday. One Lung McClung and all his decorations, medals that he earned. One Lung was actually, I believe, one of the best sharpshooters in the company, right behind Shifty Powers. Was nicknamed Wild Bill for all the killing he did on D-Day. And you know, what's crazy to think about him is that he was 19 years old when he jumped into Normandy on D-Day. And he was also in mourning for his older brother, who was recently killed in Monte Cassino, Italy. And he found out just before he jumped. Rules of land warfare. This field manual, just about every officer would have been very familiar with. So some familiar names there: Muck, Toy, and Malarkey. It says Camp McCall, which would have been following their training at Camp Toccoa. So at this point, they were already certified parachutists and doing a lot of FTXs, field training exercises, and so forth, getting ready for the big move over to England. Floyd Talbert, who would survive the war with Easy Company and got bayoneted by one of his own guys outside of Carentan shortly after D-Day. Carwood Lipton, Easy Company, was wounded in Carentan and really held Easy Company together during those really tough times of the Battle of the Bulge. These photos are just, you really see how young these guys were. Colonel Sink, who was the CO of the 506th Parachute Infantry Regiment, and his troops dubbed the 506 the 506. obviously with the war on, rationing was a big thing. And this was a wedding dress made out of a reserve parachute. Pretty clever. So Fritz Nyland, who is part of the 501st PIR, the movie Saving Private Ryan was actually based upon him and his brothers. And actually Skip Muck from Easy Company was good friends with Nyland, as they both came from the same part of New York. To hell with Hitler. My thoughts exactly. And this is the entire company roster for Easy Company. So right before Operation Market Garden, right before they jumped into Holland. And the names you see here, you see Winters up top as the captain, commanding officer. You see Robert Brewer there at the top, who was actually shot in the throat outside of Neunen. First Sergeant Lipton, Staff Sergeant Garnier. And as you see here, about halfway down the page, you see Denver Randleman. Bull Randleman, and next to his name is WIA. He was wounded in action in Neunen. Daryl Powers, who was shifty. Joe Toy. Joe Liebgott, who was a bit of a character on his own. Joe Lesnowski, who was wounded in action by the Crossroads, which is episode 5 of Band of Brothers. Earl One Lung McClung. Ramirez. Top of this list here on page 3, you see Wayne Sisk, who ended up being wounded in the Battle of the Bulge. Robert McClinton, he has KIA next to his name. He was killed in action in Neunen. Ed Herron, who I believe was killed in action by a sniper during the attack on Foy during the Battle of the Bulge. Hubler, who accidentally shot himself with a German Luger during the Battle of the Bulge. John Janovec, who was killed in Austria when the company was there at the end of the war. I believe the war had already ended and he was killed during in a car accident. I believe he might have been the last casualty Easy Company sustained during World War II. Don't quote me on that. The top of page 4 here, you have James Miller with KIA. He was, in the miniseries, he was portrayed by James McAvoy. He was killed in the Battle of Neunen there. Harold Webb and Kenneth Webb here towards the bottom of your screen. They were both killed, I believe, in the attack on Foy in the Battle of the Bulge. And then, of course, David Webster. And that is a picture of Floyd Talbert standing on the hood of Hitler's car. And if you look in the windshield, those are bullet holes made from Floyd Talbert, who wanted to test the rumor that was going around that Hitler's car was bulletproof. And he found out in short order that it was not bulletproof. Picture is of Don Malarkey and Floyd Talbert when the unit was in Kaprun, Austria. So as the war had already been over, you survived some of the most dire moments of World War II. Operation Overlord, Battle of the Bulge, you survived some crazy, crazy shit. I just can't imagine what's going through their heads. So in this case here, you have, it looks like M1 ammo and pineapple grenade, and that's actually one of the German potato masher grenades with the stick. I would do anything to have a Willys Jeep. Absolutely anything. This is a carbine here that you would have seen carried by an American paratrooper. And I can tell it's made for the Airborne because of this collapsible stock here on the end that can kind of fold itself up and have a smaller profile, easier to jump with. Of course, the M1. They really cover the gambit as far as World War II weaponry. I am getting pretty hungry myself.